Paul, that's been taken. What does this say? Public comments. Are there any public comments? There's no public, so there aren't any comments. Staff update. What is that?
So I had the opportunity for us to speak a little bit on just a couple items of immediate action.
Oh, well, hurry up.
All right. On one item, we had an opportunity to work with the finance department, and you'll see the sheet in front of you. And actually, they were able to go through and break down on a monthly basis what they're paying for services of the city. That's something we're probably going to be utilizing during our campaigns in the referendum, and something I just want to get out to all of you to see what our cost is each month. If you were to look at a $200,000 home, it comes out to $1,495 for the that's what the services are for us and the cost. And then they'll go through and break down the rest of the stuff that you are paying for the beginning. So it's a good way for people to look at extra services.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
People pay more for Parks and Rec than they do for fire protection. I don't get that. But approval of the minutes of November 14th, 2024 regular meeting.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any corrections or changes to the minutes of November 14th? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Get your finger off that. Oh, Jody, do you have anything on staff updates?
I don't, thank you.
See what happened? She made me ask you that. Approval of the promotion of Marshall Fire and Rescue Department Relief Lieutenant Matthew, is that Karnowski?
Correct.
That's the way to say it? Good. To the position of Lieutenant for Blue Ships.
Oh. The department currently has one lieutenant vacancy. A promotional process was held on December 2nd, 2024, with 4 highly qualified candidates participating. Relief Lieutenant Matthew Karnowski emerged as the top candidate in the process. I'd like to take a moment and share his story. Matthew Karnowski joined the Marshfield Fire and Rescue Department on March 24th, 2014. Before his tenure with MFRD, Matt brought over 4 years of experience, having worked as a paramedic with Curtis Ambulance, as emergency room paramedic at Ascension St. Michael's Hospital, and as a firefighter EMT with the Almond Fire Department. Matt also gained valuable experience as a construction foreman with Jablonski Construction, where he led crews in the building of residential homes, additions, and renovations. The background has provided him with a strong understanding of building construction and fire dynamics, a crucial skill set for effective fireground tactics. His expertise in this area will significantly enhance his ability to make informed decisions during incidents and will be a valuable asset in training his shift. Matt has worked tirelessly to reach this point in his career, and his dedication was clearly reflected when he achieved the top score in the lieutenant promotional process. He holds an associate degree in paramedic technician from Mid-State Technical College and has earned numerous specialized certifications from the state of Wisconsin in areas such as firefighter 1 and 2, driver, operator, pumper, and aerial, hazardous materials technician, and critical care paramedic. In addition to his formal qualification, Matt is an active field training officer and plays an integral role in the apprenticeship and gear committee, further demonstrating his commitment to the department's growth and success. The department respectfully requests permission to promote Relief Lieutenant Matthew Karnowski to the position of lieutenant at the Marshfield Fire and Rescue Department. Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to move Matt from wherever he is to lieutenant for the Blue Ships. Any comments or questions? See, I changed glasses and I can't see you anymore. Any questions? No? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We gotta have a roll call. Never mind. Go ahead.
Gershman,
Yes.
Pinker,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Keel.
Yes. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
It looks like a little temper. All right, item 7 on the agenda. Approval of the assignment of Marshfield Fire and Rescue Department Relief Lieutenant to Red Shift to firefighter critical care paramedic Matthew Wolf.
I think we got that a little backwards, but I apologize. We're actually moving.
You wrote it.
So you're correct. The department currently has 2 vacancies for relief lieutenants. A promotional process took place on December 2nd, 2024, with 2 highly qualified candidates in consideration. Firefighter paramedic Matthew Wolf was selected as the top candidate. I'd like to take a moment and share Matt's story. Matthew Wolf joined the Marshfield Fire and Rescue Department on June 6, 2017. Before his tenure with MFRD, Matt brought over 3 years of experience, having worked as an emergency room paramedic at the Marshfield Medical Center Hospital and as a firefighter with the Cameron Fire Department. Matt has shown unwavering dedication throughout his career, which was evident when he earned the top score in the relief lieutenant promotional process. He holds an associate degree in paramedic technician from Mid-State Technical College and has obtained a range of specialized certifications from the state of Wisconsin, including firefighter 1 and 2, fire officer 1, emergency service instructor, driver operator pumper aerial, and hazardous materials technician. In addition to his formal qualification, Matt is an active field training officer and plays an integral role in the public education, EMS, IT, ambulance 98, 99 specification committees, further demonstrating his commitment to the department's growth and success. The department respectfully requests permission to promote firefighter paramedic Matthew Wolf to the assignment of relief lieutenant at the Marshfield Fire and Rescue Department.
We need a motion.
I move.
Is
Seconded.
there- Oh, thank you, Steve.
Yep.
Any comments or questions before we vote? Roll call.
Gershman,
Yes.
Pinker,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Keo.
Yes. Motion carries. Congratulations. Steve, I think you have one more.
Oops. We have one more here. So as mentioned earlier, the department currently has 2 vacancies for relief lieutenant. Firefighter critical care paramedic Tyler Hines has also performed exceptionally well during the process. I'd like to take a moment and share Tyler's story. Tyler Hines joined the Marshfield Fire and Rescue Department on July 11, 2016. Prior to his time with MFRD, Tyler gained over 6 years of experience serving as a hazmat technician with the Wapaka Hazardous Materials Team, a firefighter with the Marion and Iola Fire Departments, and an emergency medical responder with the Northwest First Responders in Iola, Wisconsin. Tyler has demonstrated steadfast dedication throughout his career, which was clearly reflected when he achieved the top score in the relief lieutenant promotional process. He holds an associate degree in paramedic technician from Fox Valley Technical College and has earned a wide variety of specialized certifications from the state of Wisconsin, including firefighter 1 and 2, fire inspector 1, advanced intervention team training, driver operator pumper aerial, youth fire center intervention specialist 1, and hazardous materials technician. Beyond his formal qualifications, Tyler is an active and vital member of the youth fire safety, ropes and technical rescue, and fitness committees. His involvement in these areas highlights his dedication to the continued growth and success of the department. The department respectfully requests permission to promote firefighter critical care paramedic Tyler Hines to the assignment of relief lieutenant at the Marshfield Fire and Rescue Department.
Thank you, Chief. Need a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion to approve.
Steve, you're a second because you were slower than Chris.
Okay.
Any comments or questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call.
Gershman,
Yes.
Pinker,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Keo.
Yes. Congratulations. I think it's, an incredibly positive statement that we have such strong people to step up into those positions. And thank you, the three of you, for being willing to do that. Chief, is there anything more? Now, listen, you're all welcome to stay. But if you have other things you need to do, you're, I think at this point, free to go ahead.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
News updates.
Okay. First item, you can go through those stats yourself, fraternal order of police, noting the officer shortages in a number of major cities. In County, Florida, and actually there were two incidents out of Florida, another case where emergency service vehicles were struck at accident scenes on the highway. In this case, a driver was watching a movie on a cell phone, crashed into squad cars parking at the accident site. Also occurring in Florida. This was in the last 2 weeks. 3 motorcycle officers were hit by a vehicle while they were assisting at the side of the road and involved fatalities to the officers. There is a device which is being used out on the West Coast called Rappler. And this was used in a pursuit in Olympia, Washington area. They're up to 100 miles an hour. First squad car got close enough, he activated the Rappler. It is something that shoots out basically webbing that gets trapped in the wheels, rear wheels of the car, and basically slows it down. I've seen it on film. It's really neat. You got to get awful close to the pursuit vehicle. Next item, I have not experienced this until a couple of weeks ago. Our emergency vehicles are equipped with the federal signal rumbler, excuse me, that low pitched sound. I was up on the second floor of the library and there was a emergency vehicle, I don't know which department, but coming into town on the parkway. And when he was approaching Maple Street, he activated the rumbler, feel it in the upstairs library, which is really impressive. As you can see, this operates at some extremely low frequencies. We know about brush fires out in the eastern part of the state or eastern United States. FDNY has had to respond to some of those, which have gotten multiple alarms. They have some rather large wooded parks, which you don't think of in New York City, but in the outlying areas they do. And something I was not aware of, FDNY actually has brush trucks. And some of them are rather large. Now, I'm going to skip to Chicago PD, and I'll come back to Sterling, Illinois, and to Winona, Minnesota. Here. Chicago PD is in an interesting situation. They have a federal consent action against them. And the civil rights consent decree, which has been with them for a number of years. And the mayor's proposed budget, Mayor Brandon Johnson, is not well liked by a lot of people in Chicago, had a substantial cut in police funding, which it wound up with in violation of the consent decree, which then could have caused a lot of problems. The mayor potentially could have been in contempt of court. After this was proposed, the Chicago City Council, by unanimous vote, turned the budget down. So they were back into looking at improved funding for the PD. Also, there was a funeral recently in Chicago for an officer who was killed in the line of duty, Martinez. This is the second time the mayor of Chicago has been told you are not welcome at a his funeral. Last spring, when East Waska was killed returning home from shift, both the governor of Illinois and the mayor were told you were not welcome. This also happened to Kathy Hochul in New York at the wake for Detective Jonathan Dillard. Governor Walz, Minnesota, 2 years ago, at a funeral for a Minnesota deputy killed in the line of duty, likewise was told you are not welcome. The obvious lesson here is politicians have to be very careful what they say, and once they get into the defund the police movement, they can suffer the effects of their unfortunate statements. Interesting occurrence with canines. Calumet City, Illinois has an injured canine now retired, and they are training that as a therapy dog, which I think is excellent use. Now, fires. I've got 3 fires to bring to your attention. And I'm bringing these forward because they relate to something that Chief presented at the last council meeting in November. He had a very nice tabulation of what sort of Davis mutual aid box alarm system response we could get from neighboring departments in the event of a major fire. There are 3 fires, I think, pass this chart around. There was a fire on the 27th of November, which occurred about a mile and a half east of Seaway in the town, in the village of Kronenwetter. It was a rather large barn. And I heard the call outs on the radio, and I charted out the mutual aid departments that responded and see the distance that some of these have to go. In that particular incident, water tenders from Rudolph, which is Portage. Sterling, Illinois is located 40 miles northeast of the Quad Cities. And if I get a 2-sided yellow sheet for you. They have a large commercial recycling facility, which has had a history of fires. They had a fire occur last month in a scrap pile. And the fire grew very rapidly, became very large, and they had to call in mutual aid. On that map, Sterling, Illinois, that's the one with the 25 days. That's the radius from which the departments were responding to that. They had to use numerous shuttles with water tenders, and something that our department has mentioned in the past at plan commission meetings. Here, there was only one hydrant by the recycling center, and that was a dead end hydrant. So that limited their ability to fight the fire. So there was no circle and no additional hydrants, tankers. They used, put this in capital letters, they used 2 million gallons of water to fire out. It's a fire just outside of Winona, Minnesota. So a recent fire. Now that's on the other side of your yellow page. That's the 30-mile radius. This was at the Minnesota Equestrian Center. This is 128,000 square feet, 300 plus animal stalls. Obviously a huge facility. They lost a quarter of the barn at the house of the caretaker. They had to call in mutual aid. And on that map, the mutual aid departments, I've marked with arrows. And again, you can see how far they are going. I put this one down for a specific reason. Winona, which has a population larger than Marshfield, on the mid 20,000, is in basically the same geographical situation we are. They are the only full-time department in their county. So if they have a major fire, they have to bring in assistance from outside. In this case, if you look on the map, if you go southwest of Winona along, you see Minnesota 43, it's in a box. That's where the fire was located. If Winona had a major fire, they're gonna have to be calling in basically the same departments. The only full-time urban departments that could assist them are in Rochester and the La Crosse metro area, Cross and Alaska. Otherwise, your next closest full-time. So they have somewhat the same situation. Now I've got another chart that's on the pink page. This goes back to Sterling, Illinois. And I have circled the departments which responded to Sterling's call for assistance. And Sterling went down to the end of their Avis list. I mean, they were at the very bottom. You can see where those departments were coming from. And it is even Clinton, Iowa, even responded on that. Sterling's about 15,000 population. Dixon's about the same. Had an opportunity to talk to the chief on the telephone. And most of these other departments were coming in. Water tenders, and then backfilling departments that had sent equipment to Sterling. It's a massive operation. Sterling, in a sense, is in our same position. Sterling and Dixon are the only major cities in that area. And if, as we can see, if they have an emergency, a large proportion, they have to keep it inside. We're pretty much the same situation. So we'll keep very large distance. And that's all that I have.
Thank you, Bill. Police Department approval of bill. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Well, have at it.
Okay, thank you, and good morning. You should have two sets of bills in your packets today. The first was signed by Commissioner Pinker on November 22nd, and the other signed yesterday by, I believe, Commissioner Meek. I do not have that set of bills in front of me. However, I'm sure that Assistant Chief Esser would be able to assist me in answering any questions. I look for your approval. I didn't see anything that stood out to me. However, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them before your approval.
I've got just one question. Was a sniper rifle a replacement or was it an addition?
You cut out at the end there, Randy. I didn't hear the whole thing about the sniper rifle.
Was it a replacement or in addition?
Yeah, it's a replacement. Our rifles are starting to, we're cycling out of the APFs and replacing them with a better brand. And this is, I believe, the last one that we're replacing.
That's what I thought, but I wanted to ask.
Yep.
Jody, are those custom made to our specs?
They're not necessarily custom made, but they're a better machined weapon than our previous ones.
Any other questions about the bills?
Move to approve the
Okay, well, I have a question. Is the current police station equipped with running water?
Well, I think it's running, but it's pretty cold today, so it might not be, but it will be.
I'm just curious that you need to buy 16 gallons of water.
Yeah, it's we had that water fountain. We actually got it, I think, back in COVID, and we've tried other things like the filtered water and the faucets and things like that, and our bubblers are pretty corroded and nasty, and so this is the most economical way. We hope to improve that with our new building.
Well, I hope so.
Okay.
Thank you for your answer. I was just curious. Buying 16 gallons of water.
It's
All
a fair-
right,
It's a fair
Uh,
question.
and we have we have other bills that we saw first this morning, right? Has everyone had a chance to look? You want to go through those two?
I think he thought you were
So
looking.
you got to both sets then, right?
Travis has the other set. I didn't review the report in its entirety, but I remember the items that were on there, some of them.
Questions on the second set?
No, I just want to make sure that we've done our job in looking at them.
Yep.
All right, so the motion is to approve both sets?
Yes,
Do we have a motion?
yes.
Excuse me. Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments about the bills from the police department? All in favor of the motion to approve those bills? We're having a roll call.
Gershman,
Yes.
Pinker,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Meek. Meek,
Yes.
Keel.
Yes. The motion carries and the bills are approved. Next, we will do the fire department bills.
Good morning and thank you. The department had two sets of bills this month. The first set was signed by Commissioner Chris Hansen on November 26, 2024. And the second set was signed by Commissioner Randy Gershman on November 11, 2024. None of the bills stood out to me as they all appear to be routine operating expenditures for the month. I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission may have. It would ask for approval.
Motion to approve.
I'll move.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Seconded.
Thank. Any comments or questions about the motion to approve the fire department bills? I'm reminded of a improvement to fire department bills very early in my tenure on the commission. When the department, I think I've talked about this actually, wanted $246 for a D-handled shovel. And I offered to buy one at Menards and sell it to them for $100 and I'd make money and they would save money. And they said it was fine as long as it didn't spark. We're liable to hear a question or two about $600 for leather suspenders.
Correct. That was to, are you asking about the leather suspender?
Well, you might as well say something because I'd like it explained in the.
Suspenders are actually utilized for our bunker gear. They're a heavy style. What we do is we do stock some of those in the fire department. So we have them in our closet. And the availability that one of those break, a lot of times they will wear out in little pieces that go on the bottom. There's little buttons on the gear. They actually snap onto that. And those are the parts that actually break. When that breaks, they're pretty much taken out of service. And then we have some here where we put them back in service immediately. So that's what that was an overall order to make sure I had suspenders in stock so I could replace those if needed.
And you ordered 4 extra large and 4 large?
Correct. You typically put that on, when you put your bunker gear on, you still have all your other clothing on. That goes up over the top, so you have to be able to have that ability.
Boy, today it'd really be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they really would. They do a great job of holding your pants up.
Well, I just thought I would ask because I know somebody's gonna bring it up. $600 for leather suspenders, get real,
But they're
can do better than that.
the Boston leather, unfortunately, those are the ones that we have are to be utilized. So,
Yeah, that's fine. Any other comments or silly questions? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Gershman,
Yes.
Pinker,
Yes.
Hanson,
yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Keel.
Yes. Next on the agenda, police department, training reports and correspondence and other stuff.
Thank you. in your package, you do see the list of our activities from this last month. The one thing I'd like to highlight, I guess, is on page 12B. On the 14th, I was able to meet with Scott Coran, our new alderperson. It was a really good conversation. I was really happy to meet him. And I do believe that Alderperson Wagner would be very proud to have Scott serve his district. So that was a really nice encounter. Other than that, I didn't see anything that stuck out to me. However, I'd be happy to answer any questions before they're placed on file.
Questions?
On the crime counts,
I-
going
I'm
down
sorry.
on page 12C with the crime counts,
Okay.
I assume the murder and non-negligent manslaughter, that was our multi-agency response and arrest.
Yeah.
Okay. Kidnapping and abductions, is that child custody issues?
I believe that would be. It would be in that category.
Okay. And then, see, drug narcotic offenses on 12D. With the addition of the new canine, are our apprehensions up?
I can say that I think for about the first month, every day that Mario worked, he ended up finding drugs. So without having the actual stats in front of me, I can say unequivocally, yes, they're up.
Done?
Jody, it occurs to me that having gone through these a little, maybe in a future meeting, you could explain to us how these items get in each category. You know, we'll see 3, and then we'll see 3, and then we see 0, 0, 0, 0. And I'm not exactly sure how they come to be in those categories.
Sure.
So in a future meeting, talk us through that so we have some sense of how that works.
Sure, I will. It is a little confusing because these stats are usually at least a month behind. So I can understand how that can be confusing.
Okay, thank you. Request permission for Police Chief Gruing to approach the Common Council with a request for proposal for blueprint and design for the new department building. Chief, that's obviously something for you to talk about.
Yes, it is, and I'm happy to do that. As you know, the budget passed and our police department was approved, which is pretty exciting. The next step in this process is blueprint and design. So we have to solicit for requests for proposals from companies that can provide that service for us. My hope is that I can approach the council. I do have to have council permission to do that, but I wanted to at least have your guys' blessing before I move forward. I would like to have a committee, which would be our building team plus at least one of the commissioners. And I would like 1 or 2 alderpersons to also be on the team to review those proposals when they come in and to choose a company. So what I'm looking for is permission to move forward with this process and also to perhaps appoint a person to be on that committee when the proposals come back, if it's approved.
Okay, so we have, let's do that separately. How about a motion to permit the chief to go forward to the council with his request? Thank you. Second to that. Thank you.
If
Any
it's,
dis-
I'm sorry, if it's messy to have the committee selected, we could have time and select it at a different meeting and have it on the agenda at that time if it's cleaner that way. There would be
Yeah,
time.
let's see what the commissioners want to do. So what we have, a motion to permit Chief Gruing to go forward to the council. Any comments or questions about that? Okay, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor of the motion, say, we don't, oh, we need a roll call. Yes, we do. So let's have the roll call.
Gershman,
Yes.
Pinker,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hank,
Yes.
Keel.
Yes. So, Jody, go forward with that.
Thank you.
The next thing he's asked us is to appoint somebody from the commission to serve on the committee that would review the materials that come in as a consequence of the request for proposals. Do you want to do that now, or do you want to wait a while?
It's not an agenda,
Yeah.
so it should wait.
I don't want to wait.
It's not an agenda.
Bill's right. Gotta let him wait.
All right, we wait.
Next meeting.
I don't like either of you guys. So those are the two things that the chief needs. He got one, and the other one will come at a future meeting as an agenda item. Is that correct? All right. Fire department activities, training reports, and correspondence.
All right, the past month was busy with 257 calls for service, training, fire inspections, public relations, recruitment, and many meetings. Many of the activities were routine, but there is one item I'd like to discuss further. Lately, we've been doing a lot of training, and these over the last month or over this last month for rescue task force training with the PD. Throughout that month, we had all 3 shifts have been collaborating with the PD to refine our response to these types of incidents. This collaborative approach has allowed both departments the ability to better understand each other's mission and these incidents. We would like to openly thank the PD for their dedication to this joint response and look forward to additional training as we move forward. One other item too, I had a chance to meet with Scott Grant as well. And again, I would echo Jody's comments. I wouldn't want to steal the thunder. He really does seem to be a good fit for that area. That was the items that stood out to me. For further explanation, I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners?
Got a question for Chief Barnes.
Oh.
Fire extinguisher training at Democrat. That live fire or do you use a simulator?
It's a propane truck simulator.
Okay,
So we got that from Midstate Tech. They let us borrow it, use it out there. So,
okay. Super. And how have, whoever was answering this. We are some of the tech schools. They had job fairs. How's that been working?
That's been working very well. Actually, Deputy Chief Wyland and Firefighter Giebert went to the last 2, and they had a really good chance to interact with a lot of the different students that are coming up. One thing we did find in one of the last ones, one of the other departments in the area was actually doing an interview at the job fair. So they were doing interviews right on site. Something that's a little new, but again, as we start to look at staffing and we start to look at recruitment efforts for the future, that continues to be a difficult process for us. And trying to find qualified candidates is also, we're trying to partake in any of those events we can possibly get into. Taking it up.
And really quick, the last one was at Midstate College for the paramedic program. After the visit, we did get multiple applications for paramedic students to do ride time with us. We accepted 2, which is as many as we can take right now. So we will have 2 paramedic interns starting in January.
Very good. Anything else? Okay. Next item on our agenda is approval of contract with Contessa.
And I'll start this one out. Deputy Chief Akins.
You know what a Contessa is, John? That's an Italian nobility title.
That's gonna be somebody telling.
And recommended approval to Finance and Budget Personnel Committee. Okay, what are you talking about here?
Basically, I just started out. Deputy Chief Akins has been working with Contessa, city staff, and Attorney Wilfram to finalize this contract. I'll pass this over to Deputy Chief Akins for their explanation.
Thank you. So this is something I did bring to the commission, it was quite a while ago, to pursue, and I got approval. Contessa is a home healthcare company that provides care in-home for patients. Occasionally, these patients need transport from their home back to Marshfield Medical or maybe another facility. We cannot bill the patients for these because they are currently under medical care of Contessa. unless we have a contract with Contessa, they're not obligated to pay. So going back and forth, working with them, we came to an arrangement where it's very fair. Even if we were to incur overtime being on one of these calls, our costs would still be covered. We would not be losing money. So they agreed to the amount we proposed. The city attorney has reviewed it and approved the language of the contract, which was in your packets as well. And I'm just asking for approval to move forward.
And we need a motion then to approve the contract with Contessa Home Health.
I got a few questions.
We gotta have a motion first.
I'll move to approve.
Second,
Second.
thank you. So we have motion second. What are your questions, sir?
Okay, first question, why the retroactive date to July 17th?
That may have been just an error. I started working on this early this year.
No,
However, well, to kind of speak to that, we do have, I think, 3 transports we've done for them. That's what started all of this. And they have agreed to pay us retroactively. So that's also a possibility for the reason for that.
so the question I have is, you use the term that we're covering our costs, right?
Correct.
But the city's really not making money on it, right? I mean, you didn't include it.
So the,
I would be curious to see.
yep, so I worked with the finance department. Again, Jordan has done presentations for the commission as to pretty much how much it costs us to run a call. If we have to call in 1 person overtime, 2 people, so on and so forth. These are non-emergent calls. We would not accept them unless all ambulances are available. So there's a possibility that another ambulance could go out while they're out. We would have to call it overtime, but it would be less likely. The amount we worked out with them was 150% of the Medicare rate. So
How much, Steve? How much is it?
it varies.
Okay.
That's why we also left it that way. So as the contract year to year, if it's approved, keeps moving forward, that number changes with Medicare changes. So we don't have to constantly update the number that we're in the contract.
So really, the way you look at it is, there's not going to be, very unlikely to have overtime because you're not going to accept anything.
Correct. If there's another ambulance out, we will schedule this for a time when there isn't. The contract was worded as well so that we can delay or turn down calls to make sure that we cover this without overtime, if at all possible.
So the other follow-up with that is just so the public understands, if you have to call someone in, that's a minimum of 3 hours, right?
Correct. For an ambulance standby, it's a minimum of 3 hours.
But you don't see it, that would be very, very unusual.
It would be very, not unusual, unlikely, I'm trying to think of the right word, very infrequent, but the cost that we built in would cover that even with overtime. So with every one of these calls that we would do where there's no overtime, we are more than covering our costs, I guess I'll say. So even with overtime, we still cover the cost.
So I know we use that term a lot, this is really, we're really contracting with a private business, right? To a certain extent. So we have to be
Correct.
careful that we're not, subsidizing someone else at the detriment of.
No, absolutely. No, that is not the intent. The intent of this contract really is just to ensure that if and when we do these transports, that we are getting reimbursed for them.
So we know they're gonna pay us if we bill them and provide the service, right?
Correct.
So there's not gonna be a write-off with that. But, again, I'm not trying to be obtuse about it, but, it would be nice if we could be able to covering our costs. This is the cost of equipment and staffing. I don't know what your feeling is as a department, but I think we have to be sensitive to public things. We want to get 2 additional staff, now we're adding an additional service, which, will cover our costs, but it doesn't necessarily create additional revenue to fund anything, right?
So I think what I can do maybe to help out is, again, I worked with Jordan on these. We looked at the numbers that he had given us a presentation in the past. I'll bring that back and email it to the commission to show you the numbers that we used, with 1% overtime, 2 people on overtime, and then what this would actually reimburse so that you guys can see that as well.
Yeah, and I think the agreement is great. I think you did a great job because, we want to be paid to do this. We do want to provide the service. These people are our community. And they're, I want to partner with CHS and Contessa, but, that's my biggest worry is just, I've probably talked too much, too many questions, but it's going to ask a question. Absolutely, because it's their mission, and are we really making enough money to really put ourselves at risk?
And you're confident that 150%, you're covering any expected costs from
Yeah.
the service?
Even if we call in overtime, the 150% would cover our costs.
Yeah. That's the basic, I think, in my head, that's the basic principle. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I have a question. This is in section 9.
You read it.
What is,
9.10. Contessa and provider fire department names each other's name, address, telephone number, fire directory, or other marketing materials on prior written approval. A request for such approval shall receive a response in days of request. My question is, if somebody's looking at marketing materials, basically advertising, does that request for approval have to come from the fire department here, or does it come
My understanding is that the request would come to the fire department, however, is you guys being our commission, it would come to you guys for.
That's my question. They're different. But do you have any sense of what they're billing out for our services? I know they're paying 150%.
So what they're paying is for the transport. I don't know, I honestly don't know if they're billing the patient for the transport. They're under contract for these, and again, we found this because we did some transports. I believe we've done 3 in the last year. This is also very minimal. After doing them, found out that the patient and the company both contacted us saying, company's telling me not to pay. Talked with the company to work this detail, and this is something they've done with other services in the areas that they cover. I don't know if they're charging the patient for the transport, if it's just part of their entire package.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, does security help pay for the transport? I'm not trying to go down it.
Yep.
I'm just trying to figure out the process of that.
As I believe that would fall into kind of your standard EMS transport billing, where it depends if it's private insurance, if it's a Medicare patient, Medicaid patient, so on and so forth. By having the contract with Contessa, we can bypass all of that.
And what did we bill in those 3 transports? Do you have any sense of what?
The one patient was a transport to Marshall Medical and then back home again. I believe the 3rd transport was a transport to Marshall Medical. So that would be our standard transport fee at that time, and I think those were their last year's fee.
Okay, which is how much?
Roughly for BLS transport would be roughly $1,000, $1,200.
Okay.
But if they're Medicare patients,
Yeah.
you would see a fraction of that.
Small fraction of that, even at 150%, just so we're.
So Medicare roughly, right now, 100% Medicare in this rough estimate is around $400 for transport. So with them paying 150%, roughly $600 for those transports.
And that would be, 45 minutes to an hour. I know there's also in the contract, there's longer transports involved too, right?
With this one, no. This is basically, they would request if they wanted us to take somebody, let's say from Marshall Medical back to Wausau, we could turn it down.
Okay.
The intent is really just to cover our costs for doing transports in our area.
So that was just my last question. Are we just really trying to serve?
Correct.
I'm completely comfortable with what your idea is. I would like to see the financial analysis, just in terms of transparency, not only for us, but I think the Common Council of Finance would ask the same question, because we went down these discussions in the past.
Absolutely.
Okay, any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, we have a motion on the floor to approve contract with Contessa. It requires a roll call.
Can I ask one further question?
No.
Is this
Go
gonna,
ahead.
is this gonna affect the service that we can decline it now?
I don't think it's going to affect it. I wouldn't be able to take it to budget finance personnel or the common
So
council.
you just have to delay it.
Would delay.
Anything else?
No.
I'm calling the question. Roll call, please.
Hirschman,
No.
Pinker. Hanson.
No.
Peak
Yes.
and Keel.
Yes.
Well, don't worry about the finance. Just teasing.
Motion carries. Item 16 on our agenda are the policy changes. You've had a chance to go through those. Are there any comments or questions about the policy changes that have been provided to us?
One motion for a page per page.
You want one motion for all of the changes? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. Bill, what do you think? Would you do one each individually or?
I think it would depend on whether we had questions about
Yeah,
anyone's.
I was gonna say, if there were major questions, probably separate.
If we didn't approve one single policy. Yeah.
So I guess my question as leader of the commission this morning, do you want to approve them all in a single motion, or do you want to do them individually? You can if you think that's the better approach.
I'd be willing to make the motion to approve them in their entirety.
All right,
And then we could, I could also motion for one out.
I'll take that as a motion to approve them in their entirety. Is there a second to Randy's motion?
Seconded.
Thank you, Steve. So the motion on the table is to approve all of the policy changes as been presented to the commission. Are there questions or comments?
I don't have a comment on the policy, but the policies are great. Bill did a great job with it. It was a really good thing for me to ask a couple questions, staff. The service that we are getting from them is just amazing. We have a policy that's somewhat unique to our department.
Randy, could you speak up a little?
Yeah, if we have a policy that is somewhat unique to our department, our vendor will look at it, make sure it's completely legal, and then send it back with any changes. So it's an additional service I wasn't aware of that we had, and it really gives me a great degree of comfort, along with having Commissioner Pinker read through it and see if there's any changes that he sees. So that's what my point.
All right,
Let me just add, having gone through two sets of these, and Paul is ready to work. It's a point I continually emphasize to Paul and refers it back to the committee. And you can see some of the changes last time, this time, where we have words and then abbreviation follows. I've said numerous times, these are public documents that are available for public records request. Can't use fire speak. Got to do this in plain language. Follow up with the abbreviations here on. It's you need that clear language in here. I've learned a lot going through. And I go through these. really get an insight as to what happens internally. Get an insight as to what happens, what makes things run, what keeps us safe. A lot of people out there say, oh, fire, it's for lights, lights there. Look at some of the policies. See how. I do have a question. Direct this to Brian. This is on fire inspections. We did change the imminent immediate hazard from corrected before the inspector premise. You can be corrected if possible prior to the inspector leaving, if not 24 hours. We made a change there because they have out of city owners, out of state owners for property. Somebody making authorization. Here's my question. We have the authority to shut the premises down. There's an imminent hazard.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we were very close to that. It's a business in town here, and they, after I talked to finally got hold of the head corporate and all that, and threw that at them, and within days, they
Okay.
had everything fixed.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that.
I would then a little bit further, that's also under municipal code. And it basically lays it out there and it falls into all the pertinent, codes for NFPA and
Okay.
what we need to do for that.
Okay. So we've got good overlap.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments about, we have a motion to approve all of the code changes as presented. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion signify by roll call.
Hirschman,
Yes.
Hanker,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Peak,
Yes.
Yes. Well, all of them have been approved, and I have to say, really a good job.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people think it's just form, but it's the playbook. It is the rules by which you function. And there's probably no more important internal job than the policy. So thank you for your work. Review and approval of the 2025 Fire and Police Commission financial review schedule. You've all seen a copy of it. Are we okay?
Yes.
Okay. By the way, I vote to approve in the second. Are there additional comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call all in favor, and that does not require a roll call. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Items for future meetings. Are there any on your tip of your tongue? What?
The building campaign.
right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you. We have to, on our next meeting, appoint a commissioner to the police Jody's process for the new building. Or the remodel building, or the new station, or whatever language we use. Anything else for our next meeting?
Check your calendar, Bill. People will work out.
I
Work it out.
Okay.
just bought my new calendar, so I can do this. Anything else to bring before the assembly? Hearing none, I call the meeting to be adjourned.